you have been to India as well.
I preferred the butter chicken in New Delhi and I preferred the momos in Dharamshala. Like I absolutely loved Thailand. It was one of my favorite. The sea looked really shallow and it was a lot deeper than we thought. And I think it came up to like about here. Thank
Well,
you. Bye.
bye, bye, good night. Hi, this is Abhishek Srivastava, aka Rolling Voyager, your host and host for the podcast Travel Talks. And today we had a guest who has traveled 35 plus countries and six continents across the globe. She's not just a traveler, she's creating an impact by doing a volunteership across the globe. So let's welcome our first guest, Megan. Megan, welcome to the show Travel Talks. And how are you doing today?
Yeah, doing really good. I'm excited to be on here. Thanks for having me.
Same here. Thank you so much. And Miguel, so let's start. Could you let us know more about yourself and how did this travel thing started with you?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, for everyone that doesn't know me, I'm Megs. I'm 28 years old. I'm from England, and I quit my job almost 2 years ago now to travel the world. In that time, I've been volunteering and learning new skills, trying to sort of immerse myself in the language and the culture and things like that. And I've just actually moved to Barcelona to sort of set up a base here and start a new life here.
So, when did you started traveling? So, you have traveled 35 plus countries, and what was your best one till now? What was the best till the time you had?
Yeah, that's always a hard question. So, like, I started full-time traveling in September 2022, not last year, the year before. And it's a hard one. It's all relative. So, I always say to people, like, I absolutely love Thailand. It was one of my favorite countries.
Okay, and you have been to India as well. So, how was your experience in India?
Yeah, I loved India. So, that's actually been one of my most recent ones. Being completely honest, it wasn't like up there in my top favorites as a whole
Mhm.
country. And like I have reasons for that. But in terms of like the Taj Mahal being like one of the seven wonders of the world, like that is completely legit. Like it's yeah, it's amazing. And also there's some amazing treks and hikes that you can do. And like that was maybe one of my favorite ever hikes and treks that I've ever
You
done.
did a
So
train trek, right, in Dharamshala?
yeah, I absolutely loved it. I didn't know what to expect, but I think it was almost better like hiking next to the Himalayas because the views were just like amazing.
And if you have to tell us any funny thing that you had on the trip as a rookie, from your first or second or third trip, any funny thing that happened to you or you have done as a rookie.
Yeah, the thing for me is I'm not really like a planner. I think one of the best parts about solo traveling is being really flexible, not really planning it out too much. But I think sometimes you end up in funny situations because of that, because you've not like done any research. And I think one of the times I'd met some really nice people on the bus in Cambodia from like the north, Siem Reap, and we were going down to the islands Koh Rong, which uh, are quite famous for like being like picturesque beaches, and a lot of people go there on the weekends to party. And anyway, we get off of the ferry and we've arrived at the island, but we're not like quite at the hostel. And we've all got like these massive backpacks on. And at the time, I had like a 16-kilogram backpack. It was like almost as big as me, like could barely carry it because I just thought I need to pack for a whole year of traveling rather than thinking actually I need to pack for 3 weeks of traveling and then you just wash your stuff. So I had my whole life on my backpack and we're following Google Maps that somehow was working on this island in the middle of nowhere. And it basically takes us to the end of where the beach finishes. And there's like a sea that runs between the beach that we're on and then the beach that we need to be on. And so what had happened
So,
is we'd got off the boat at the wrong point and we had to cross the sea with our massive backpacks. The sea looked really shallow, and so we were like, oh, it's fine, we'll just, put the backpacks on our backs or maybe on our heads and we'll just like walk across. But as we like stepped into the sea, it was a lot deeper than we thought. And I think it came up to like about here, the water video of us walking across this sea. It's only about 2 meters, 3 meters long, but walking along and right at the end, I nearly completely fell and like that would have been all my clothes soaked. But yeah, that was quite a funny
yeah,
time. We
that's
laugh about
exciting.
that
That's
now.
exciting.
Yeah.
Okay, that's really exciting thing that you told us. And you have experienced so many cultures till now from when we started traveling. So, like, what was the any quirky culture that you would like to adapt in your lifestyle, or something that excites you, a new culture that from you learned from somewhere, from some countries?
Yeah, I mean, one of my favorite things is like either living with the locals or like doing something that involves locals so that you can like really immerse in the culture. And I think volunteering's been quite good for that because I've lived with some local families or I've been part of like organizing like local street festivals and we're like building the decorations. So I'd say India, Colombia, and Tanzania all had really, really strong cultures, like quite different to what I'm used to in England, and also
Yeah,
really different from each other.
and like you talked about the Indian culture. So, what really excites you in Indian culture? Like, if you came to Delhi, Agra, and Dharamshala as well. So, these three are the different
Mhm.
regions. New Delhi is basically influenced by I would say, more into Mughal culture, and same as
Yeah.
Agra. Agra is into the Uttar Pradesh. That's a different like state of India, and Himachal. Basically, it's a mountain side. So, how you will differentiate all three, and like if you had to tell that you had learned one thing from there, so what it would be?
Yeah, I mean, India alone, like each, like you said, each of these parts had such
Hmm.
different cultures. And I know that like a lot of people from around the world know that there's a huge rich and poor divide in India, but I don't
Hmm.
think they realize that there's actually a huge cultural divide as well. And I really noticed that from volunteering in like different parts, like yeah, New Delhi was crazy, so chaotic. It was like I think if you're a first time solo traveler, especially as a female, I wouldn't start in India because it is overwhelming. But luckily, it was towards the end of my trip, so I was prepared for it. I knew kind of what I'd signed up for, and it was amazing. Like if you actually just embrace the chaos, it's crazy,
Hmm.
but it's amazing. And then like Dharamshala is basically all the people that are there from Tibet, right? So that like there's a
Yeah.
huge Tibetan culture where you know the guy, what's his name, Dharam
Hmm.
Lama.
Dalai Lama. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like the leader there, and like there's such a strong culture of that. Like when I was there, everyone was talking about him. When we were at the temple, they were like signing up for to a register to like meet him and hear about like his advice. And he was like such an inspiring character for like the people there. And it's quite interesting actually. Now that I'm in Barcelona, I was actually getting the
Hmm.
train the other day, and I met a guy from yeah Tibet, but he also knew about like the culture in Dharamshala. Can't say that word very
Yeah.
well. And it's mad to think that like I bumped into them here in my hometown,
Yeah.
well, my new hometown in Barcelona. But like even he was talking about the culture of Dharamshala, and he was saying about like the temples and like the prayers and the food there, even like the momos, the like traditional food there. And so we
Dharamshala is also famous for momos, as they are Tibetans, and
Mhm.
India as like New Delhi as well. So there is a fight going on in India, like Delhi momos are best, Dharamshala momos are best. So what do you like? Like, did you like the Indians or like New Delhi or the Dharamshala ones?
Yeah, okay. So I think that I preferred the butter chicken in New Delhi and I preferred the momos in Dharamshala.
You were telling me earlier that day that you were into the finance, right? Back into the traveling before it was traveling. So like, what pushed you to come into the traveling and quitting your permanent job? Like,
Sorry, what was
what
the
was the
question?
reason?
What was the reason?
Yeah.
I guess there wasn't one reason that was just like do it. It was like adding up over time. I think COVID played a big part in that because I was on like a really intense graduate job straight from uni where I had like 13-hour core days as a minimum, and I was traveling from my hometown into London City. And so my days were just all work, no play. It was literally like my life. And I loved it at the time. It was really good experience. But I think COVID kind of gave me a bit of a reset because like I didn't have to do the commuting. I moved back home to my family home with my parents and my family, and we were kind of like working together. And they saw how intensely I was working and seeing that I didn't really have breaks and my job was kind of consuming me. And I think it kind of gave me a bit of time to reset and think like, what else do I want to do with my life? Because I was like
Mhm.
saving quite a lot of money at the time because I was getting paid well, but not having to spend the money to commute or spending the money on like going out after work, having dinner, or like paying for like you pay like £10 for a salad in London for
Yeah.
lunch. So I was saving so much money during COVID times as well that I thought, what do I really want to do with this? Like, do I just want to keep chasing the career ladder and like invest and build a family and live here? At the time, I was like 23, 24. Or do I want to do something else? And basically, I decided that I was at a crossroad where I wanted to swap jobs anyway. Like, I was maybe looking to go into a startup or something more towards technology where it was a bit more rewarding rather than just like in the finance industry where you're not really making a difference in terms of like making the world better. And so I basically decided to go traveling for a year. And then I was going to go back to the finance world, but find something that was like maybe sustainable finance or something where I felt like I was adding to like something more impactful. But yeah, I just kind of loved it. I picked up the volunteering along the way, picked up some new like qualifications, and I think maybe I might eventually go back into finance.
Mhm.
But the thing that's missing for me is it needs to be rewarding. So it needs to be like working on technology that's, you know, either helping with sustainability, helping
Yeah.
charities, even fundraising, like something where I'm having like a big impact and like making a positive difference.
Yeah. So recently, I think you travel, like you volunteered in Tanzania, right? About the
Mhm.
book library, I think, right? So
Yeah,
how you manage like volunteering and traveling all together?
yeah, so I signed up for this volunteering platform called World Packers, and I now actually work with them. But essentially, what it is you pay for like a yearly membership, which I think with like a discount code that I can share, it's like $39 for the year, which is not too bad. And basically, it gives you like all this platform full of hosts, and these hosts have been vetted out, so it's like you know that they're safe, they're like local families or small businesses, NGOs. These hosts have gone through like a strong interview process and they get put on the platform and they have like reviews, they have like sort of a criteria of what they're looking for and what you get in return. And so I knew that I wanted to volunteer in Africa. And so I was searching different places. I was looking at Cape Town, I was looking at Tanzania, Zanzibar, all these places. And I ended up finding this school in Tanzania, which had really good reviews. And it was basically the day-to-day volunteering was being a primary school teacher. But then on the side, they have this project where they're actually building a library and community centre for the kids to go after school. So it's kind of like an after school club. And then also you go to like orphanages on the weekends and after school as well. And help with that. And for me, I was just like, this is exactly what I wanted to do. Like, if I could help them build their social media so that they can raise enough funds to
Mhm.
continue the project, like I felt like I could add value there. And then also just getting that exposure to like teaching the kids and like actually having an impact on their education. Like I'm super passionate about education and like giving
Yeah.
everyone the chance to like to be their best self. And so it kind of I kind of see it and was like, this is absolutely perfect. And I just had to do it. I just made it happen.
Mhm. And I would say traveling changes you in so many ways. Like I have personally believed from traveling almost 4 years after the COVID, I would say 21, I would say, and it has changed to me in many so much ways. Okay, so like how you would explain it, like how it has transformed you. If you talk about the Megan who was back in before 2022 and after 2022, so what changes travel has made in you?
Yeah, it's interesting because I get this question a lot. Everyone goes to me like, have you found yourself? Have you found yourself? And I'm like, that's so cringe. I have not found myself. I did not lose myself. What is this found myself thing? It's like the Bali concept. But I would, what I would say is without realizing, because usually if you go to school or you do an exam or you go to work, you do feel like you're growing and like learning new skills. And it's a bit more like, obvious like that you're growing, whereas when you're just doing life or traveling, you don't realize that you're growing until it's happened. And so I
Yeah.
think what happened for me is I'd already got quite independent from going to uni and like living by myself for a bit, but all like solo traveling kind of adds the next layer to that, because it's like sometimes you do get in situations that you need to be like a quick problem solver. You can't panic.
Mhm.
You need to look after yourself and kind of learn to do things without like being able to run to your friends or family and being like, can you help me? Like, I'm in this situation. And I think I didn't realize, like, I don't realize exactly what it's changed, but I think it's opened up my mind to like the world. I was quite naive and quite ignorant to what's going on around me, especially I think being brought up in like not like I wouldn't say like a, I guess it is a privileged home. I always had a roof over
Mhm.
my head. I always had food on the table. My parents worked really hard. Like, they didn't have a lot of money when they were younger, and they worked really hard to make sure that they could provide for us. And so I think I'd been brought up in that atmosphere and I never knew any different. And so I think traveling and going to these places and staying with local families that maybe don't have that, and seeing the homeless in like other areas, like, it opened up my mind. And I also met people that told me stories about their culture, like even in Cambodia, for example. It was only like less than 50 years ago when like all the chaos was going on, where they had the really bad ruling and like a lot of people died there. And yeah, same in Tanzania, they had the most positive attitude. Like, everyone was so lovely, so
Mhm.
friendly. I felt really safe walking down the streets, and everyone was just like there to help you, no matter, like, they didn't want money, they just wanted to help you. But they had nothing. And for them, like, for example, if like I bought a child like a drink, say I bought them a Fanta or a lemonade just because we were
Mhm.
walking home from school together, they would keep the bottle because they would find a purpose for it, and they would save a bit for their family, so they would share this one drink with the rest of their family. And little things like that really affected me, because I was like, they literally have nothing, and to them this little bottle of Fanta, which has cost me maybe 20 pence,
Mhm.
is like life changing for them. They might use it as a light bulb or
Yeah.
something. Like, it's just crazy what they would do with it.
Mhm.
And so I think it opened up my mind. I grew as a person. I kind of expanded my comfort zone so much that now I just feel comfortable in most situations, which I
Yeah.
always am trying to do. But yeah, there's nothing specific. It's just, I think, yeah, if you knew me before, you'll see that, I don't know, I just have this new frame of mind and this new thinking.
Okay, that's good. And even if we say that suppose you have to travel in future as a solo traveler, what advice you'll be giving to any female solo traveler who'd be traveling around the world? And like what top five uh, countries would be in your bucket list to be traveling?
Yeah, yeah, great question. Because I know, like, especially females, they are scared to solo travel sometimes, and
Mhm.
they're waiting for other people to like go with them. But I would just say, like, I felt completely safe the whole time. And like, it's just because you kind of have to do certain things to ensure that. So the key thing for me is like, you always need to make sure that you have your phone and you have a power bank, because if you can call an emergency number, or you can call someone to help you, or you can use Google Maps, then you should be absolutely fine. If you can speak to the locals and kind of know which areas to avoid and which areas are safe for you, then
Yeah.
you should definitely do that. Because, for example, like, you probably know this as well, like, it's not safe for a female solo traveler to travel the whole of India. Like, I was
Yeah.
told
Yeah.
certain
Yeah.
areas not to
Definitely.
go.
Mhm.
It's the same as London. Like, if you came to London, I would say to you, don't get off at this tube station because it's not safe. It's the same. So I think speaking to locals and knowing like where to go, where not to go, where to take extra precautions, like in areas that I knew weren't as safe, I either went out of an evening as a group, or I only went out by myself in the daytimes. I had like a bum bag that I had strapped across me with my phone always here, so I like didn't give anyone the chance to steal any of my stuff
Yes,
because I
yeah.
had it like secured. And then, yeah, like I said before, I would maybe not start with India. I would know which countries to start with, get your confidence up, and then go from there. So what I actually did was I started on a group tour. So I went with Intro Travel. And my first ever trip was a group tour to Thailand. And it kind of eased me into the solo traveling because there
Mm-hmm.
was 30 of us traveling together for 3 weeks. I met other solo travelers that were like also like doing it for the first time. And so it kind of eased me in. It was like, okay, I'm here by myself because I don't know all these people, but actually we've got each other's back. There's a group of
Yeah.
us, and then at the end we're going to go our own ways. So I think it's quite important to do that. And I would also say, like as a last point, is I've said this a lot, but the volunteering, like because the hosts are like vetted so well, and usually it's not just you as the only volunteer. It also becomes like a family travel or group travel. So like even here in Barcelona, it's obviously quite safe, but I live in a house with like 25 other people, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
volunteering here with like four other volunteers, and we kind of have each other's back. Like we'll go into town together, we'll cook dinner together. Like I know that if I ended up like in a situation, I could call them and they would come and help me, and I would do the same for them. So I'd say that volunteering is a good way for solo travelers because you kind of build that little
Yeah.
family, that little travel
Yeah.
community, and
So,
it's like
like,
the
if someone,
safest way.
I would say that if someone wants to do a volunteer like you are doing, so what would be a right platform to go through, and where he or she can trust the platform, from where he can find a good opportunity for the volunteering and traveling as well. Like as you are doing,
Yes,
if you could name any website or some platform.
yeah, so it's literally just called World Packets, the website. So it's
Hmm.
in the link in my bio, and basically
Okay.
on there you just search either by the skills you have or your availability or the country, and it will give you
Hmm.
a list of all of the opportunities that are available for that month. So
Hmm.
I'd say that's the best one. I also tried Workaway before, which was our like competitor, and I think it's a similar price. And that one was also really good. But since working with World Packers, I've seen like how much they like vet the hosts that they have on the
Hmm.
platform, and they also have like these extra safety measures. What called they have like I think it's called WP Safeguard, which basically means
Okay.
that say if the experience wasn't as expected, like
Yeah.
the host has said that you're going to get this, and this, and have to do
Hmm.
this, and this, but it's not like that. Basically you can leave and World Packers will actually refund you for the few nights that you're staying in like a hostel or accommodation until you
Okay. Okay.
find the next host. So they have that
Hmm.
support system in place. Like imagine if it didn't work out for me in Tanzania, but I'm stuck there
Hmm.
in Tanzania. Where do I go?
Yeah.
And so that's really good. What I could have done is I could have checked into a really cheap hotel. World Packers would refund me for my, like, say, 3 night stay. And in that time, they help me find another host so that I can start
Okay.
volunteering with someone that's better for me, basically.
Yeah, sure. So we will be adding this into our description so anyone can find it from the YouTube description. That will be good for them. And
Yeah,
I would
perfect.
say like, yeah, yeah. If you like, what will the next adventure that will be going on? Like after Barcelona, you are in currently Barcelona. So what are the next trip that you are planning?
It's hard to know at the moment because I'm in the headspace now where I've been traveling for 19 months and I'm ready to actually set up a base, and I'm doing a bit more slow travel. So obviously it's all dependent as well on the visa. So after Brexit, it's a bit chaotic because you only get a 3 month visa here rather than 6 month tourist visa. And so I'm in the process at the moment of like applying for the proper visas so that I can then get a job here full time. I think I would be happy to settle here for maybe a year and a half before I do any more major big trips. But also
Hmm.
like opportunities are kind of coming to me whilst I'm here. Like I potentially have the opportunity to go to Andorra for a similar job that I'm doing now, or maybe even somewhere else in Europe. And then I still have a few places that I want to tick off from South America. So for example, it's on my like bucket list to visit Peru to do the classic hikes, including Machu Picchu. And I heard rumors that they're actually going to shut that down at some point because like all the movement is actually affecting like the landscape and the nature. I guess like it's causing too much like movement on mountains. And so that's encouraging me to do it sooner rather than later, because I will be gutted if they shut it before I get the chance to do it. But I think for that one, I will probably do it either as a big volunteering experience or as like a big group experience, whether I plan a group with me and some friends and other travelers that want to come and do it with me. Or I might set up like a volunteering group. But I think the plan is to almost do it as like a group. I'll be the group leader and I'll basically
Mhm.
bring all my friends that are dying to travel but just are too scared to give it a go, and I'll just like sort it out for them and hopefully it'll go well.
Yeah, that's good. So, Megan, do you have any last words or any summarize this podcast to tell any fellow travelers where they can find you and like they can watch your travel history or upcoming trips, and what would be the advice that you would also like to give the travelers, those who will be watching
Yeah,
this podcast?
yeah, sure. Well, firstly, thanks so much for setting this up. I think these podcasts can be really powerful for
Mhm.
like just getting your brand out there and like trying to like achieve your goals. And like for me, the big dream is to be able to grow my social media platforms, like with my travel account and everything, so that I can actually make a difference to the world. So like you get all these trending videos that go viral for like silly things or dances or something, which is absolutely fine. But imagine if we could like raise money for like these projects in underdeveloped
Mhm.
countries through the power of social media. Like that for me would
Yeah.
be amazing. So I've actually set up, there's a link on my page where I've set up the Tanzania project that I'm working on at the moment. You can actually donate on there.
Mhm.
We've raised £420 so far, which has paid for the flooring of the community centre, the windows, and the painting. And we just need, I think we need just over £500 more to get all of the material for the ceilings and build the ceiling for it, and then to finish the painting on the inside and the outside, and just like the labor costs and things like that. And like to think that we've built this whole like library and community centre for a couple of £1,000 is amazing. So
Yeah.
we're on the final stage now. And then yeah, in terms of my page, so I have a travel account, Travel with Megz,
Mhm.
and I've laid out my Instagram account so that it's basically the text of the country that I went to, and then all the posts after that are different travel guides for each city that I
Mhm. Yeah, I
visited,
saw
and
that.
then the
I
text
saw it.
again. Yeah, I'm trying to kind of make it user friendly, because the thing with Instagram is you can't just have like different series or
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
sections. You have to post in order. So I've tried to put all my free travel guides in order like that. So I've got like in the captions like where you should eat, where you should stay, like where the places are like safe for you to go, and like what tours to do and things like that. And then on top of that, I also have made like a full complete travel guide for some of the countries that I've been to. So I have an Etsy store where you can actually buy those. I think the most expensive one is like $10 or something like that,
Okay.
and it's basically like 20 pages of everything you need. So
Mhm.
like you would literally, for example, you'd book your flight to like Tanzania or Spain, and it has everything you need. You don't need to do any research. You can stay in the hotels I've suggested. You can do the tours I've suggested. I've got the direct links in there. I've got contacts of like my local friends that I've made that will
Mhm.
literally do a cheap tour for you. Like for the Tanzania one, I know that travel agents are charging like over £1,000 for a safari, which to be honest, I think is fair enough. But like, for example, I have local friends there that are full-time safari guides, and they would do the tour for anyone that's bought my guide for £300 for the whole weekend. So they're
Okay,
just
that's
happy
good.
to have
Yeah.
like people come there. So even though you're paying $10 for my guide, I'm saving you hundreds. And so it's kind of just like getting the word out there that like these guides are actually been vetted out. I would never recommend something that I haven't like done myself or like myself. So it's all stuff that's been like tested by either myself or like really close travel friends, or like a company that I've used before. So I use Get Your Guide for a lot of tours. They're like a really good tour company that I work with as well. But yeah, just want to say thank you for having me. This is such a good platform and like such a good initiative that you're doing. And
Yeah.
yeah, I hope that you'll get like some more travelers on here
Yeah.
that like
Thank you so much,
want to
man.
make a difference.
Yeah. I would say that I was like it was pleasure having you over here, and I would say thank you so much to like be the my first guest on the show. Like let's hope for the good that it get skyrocketed and get viral. All right. So yeah, Max, thank
Yeah.
you so much. We'll be in touch on the Instagram. Bye bye.
Yeah,
Have
thank
a
you. Bye.
bye bye. Good night.
Bye.